بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. There's a narration collected by both Bukhari and Muslim in their two authentic compilations on the authority of Abi Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, Abdurrahman ibn Sakhr al-Dawsi. In this narration, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us a story of three individuals that came from a previous nation, meaning from Bani Israel. Israel is Yaqub alayhi salam. When you hear in the Quran and the Sunnah, Bani Israel, the children of Israel, that is Yaqub alayhi salam. Yaqub, the grandson of Ibrahim. So it is Ibrahim, his son, Ishaq, his son, Yaqub, the father of Yusuf alayhi salam. So Banu Israel, they are referred to as Bani Israel, meaning the children of Israel, the children of Yaqub alayhi salam. Israel was his nickname, which the scholars differ on the meaning of. Most notably, it translates to Abdullah, the servant of Allah in Aramaic. So these three men from Bani Israel, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us that there were these three individuals from Bani Israel whom Allah chose to test. And so he sent to them an angel. These three men, each had his own ailment, his own affliction. The first of them had leprosy. The next was bald. And the third was blind. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to them an angel. And this angel came to them, obviously in the form of a man. And he asked them, each one of them. He asked the first one, the one with leprosy. He said, if you could have anything, what would you wish for? He said, I would wish for a good complexion and healthy skin, and that this illness that I have that is causing people, to disregard me and feel disgusted by me, that this illness be done away with. And so this angel wiped over his skin, and the man was cured of his leprosy. It didn't end there. He then asked him, of all types of property, what is your favorite? He said, camels. And so he was given a pregnant she-camel. And the angel said to him, Barakallahu laka fiha. May Allah bless you through this camel. He then came, I can't hear it all. It's very distracting. It's very difficult to continue to speak, especially under the dome. It sounds like it's coming through the speakers. The second man, the balding man, this angel came to him and asked him the same question. Again, if you could wish for anything, what would it be? And the man said that I have a nice, lush, full head of hair. And that this balding that I have going on that is causing people to be repulsed by me, that it be done away with. And so the angel wiped over his head, and he was given a full head of lush hair. Then he asked him, what is your favorite of property, if you could own anything? And he said, cattle. And so he was given a pregnant cow. And he said to him, Barakallahu laka fiha. May Allah bless you through this wealth. He then came to the blind man, and he asked him, now, I want you to take a pause here for a moment. Many of us have heard this narration before. We're trying to really contemplate on the meanings of this narration. Notice the difference in the blind man's reply when he was asked what he wanted and what kind of property he wanted. He was asked the same questions. His reply seems to be the same, but it is subtly different. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ is trying to articulate to us in this narration. And that is that we prepare for our tests before the test, not during the test. We prepare for our tests in life before. So when the test comes, you naturally react. We don't learn during the test. It is not an appropriate time to learn about how to pray Salat al-Janazah when you come to pray Salat al-Janazah, or to learn how to make Hajj while you're there at Hajj. No research before. We learn things before we attempt to do them. He asked the blind man the same question. If you could have anything, if you could wish for anything, what would it be? So he said, I wish that Allah would return my sight to me so I could see people. Notice the difference in the reply. The two men before, already they failed the test. Why? Because their ambitions and who they are asking. So the first two men, their issue was a cosmetic issue. I want to look better. I want people to accept me. The blind man, he wanted to be able to see people so that he doesn't depend on anyone anymore. The first two men, they didn't say that Allah alleviate this illness. They said, I wish for this and that. This blind man, he said, I wish that Allah would return my sight to me so that I could see for myself. And so he was given his sight back. And then he asked him, what of property is your favorite that you desire most? And he said, sheep. And so he was given a pregnant sheep. Now, another thing to notice here in this narration is the human being is affected by his environment. Whatever your environment is, human beings are so susceptible to their environment and so sensitive to their environment that even when they spend time with animals, they start to adopt some of the most prominent traits of those animals. The Prophet ﷺ in Sahih al-Bukhari said that arrogance is most usually found in the shepherds of camels, and that humility and gentleness is most usually found in the shepherd of sheep. This is an authentic narration. One of the most prominent traits of the personality of camels is that they are very arrogant creatures. And second of all, they are extremely vengeful. They will remember any perceived slight, and they will seek revenge even after decades. It's been known to happen. However, sheep, they are very gentle creatures. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned that one of the animals of paradise will be sheep. And so he asked for this. Now, the Prophet ﷺ said, these three men continued their lives, and each was blessed so plentifully from these three animals that they were initially given, that each one of them had an entire valley, meaning as far as you could count or calculate, an entire valley full of livestock. This one had a whole empire built on camels, this one a whole empire built on cows, cattle, and this one on sheep. So for that process to happen, from that one animal to give birth, and then to give birth and to fill up a valley, how many years would this take? This would take decades. After this long time, the same angel returned to them in the form that they had before they met this angel. So the angel came to the first man in the form of a man with leprosy, and to the second man in the form of a man who was bald, and the third in the form of a blind man. And so they came to them and asked each one. He came to the first man, the man of leprosy, and he said, I am Ibn Sabil. I'm cut off from where I'm supposed to be going. I got cut off during my journey. I have no wealth, nothing to get back to my home with. Please, I'm asking you by Allah, there's no way I can reach my destination except by Allah and then you. I ask you by Allah, one camel to get back where I'm going. And he asked the man with the cattle the same question. One cow, just one, out of a whole valley full. And so the first two men, they replied, Al-huququ kathira. What was their reply? Their reply was, I have so many responsibilities. You know, I just can't spare a single one. The test didn't end there. The man reminded them, the angel reminded them again. He said, it's as if I know you from somewhere. كأني أعرفك. Weren't you a man who was in previous years, someone who was afflicted with leprosy? People were disgusted by you. They stayed away from you. You were poor. And Allah miraculously healed your leprosy and gave you wealth? The man said, you're confusing me with someone else. إنما ورثت هذا المال كابرا عن كابر. Said, that wasn't me, sorry. I actually inherited this from my forefathers, this wealth. This is a dynasty I'm part of. That wasn't me. And so the angel said to each one of them, if you are not telling the truth, I ask Allah to take you back to where you came from. The same place you originated from, the same leprosy, the same position in society, the same poverty that you were in. The third man, the blind man, he came to him in the form of a blind man. And he said, ابن سبيل انقطعت بي الحبال في سفري فلا بلاغ لي اليوم إلا بالله ثم بك. He said, I am Ibn Sabil. I am stranded and I need to get home, and I have no way of getting home except by Allah and then through you. I ask you by the one who has given you your vision and the one who has given you all of this wealth, one sheep to get home to where I'm going from. Now, again, let's take a pause. This man is blind, right? Supposedly, he's blind and he's stranded. How is he going to get home with one sheep? How is giving him a sheep going to solve his problem? The answer is it's not. It's not logical, right? It's clear that there is more there than meets the eye. But that is the nature of tests. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will test an individual and he will grant him tawfiq. He will grant the person perseverance through that test if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes to guide the person. And so the blind man responded and he said, I was once blind like you, and Allah returned my vision to me. And I was once poor and Allah gave me. Take as many of my sheep as you deem fit and necessary. Take as many as you deem necessary, for indeed this was all given to me by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the angel then said to him, Amsik alayka malak, withhold your wealth, keep it to yourself, keep it, I don't want any of it. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ ابْتَلَاكَ وقال في رواية قد بليتم فرضي الله عنك وسخط على صاحبيك. He said this was merely a test from Allah. Allah is pleased with you, and He has become angered with the other two. We notice from this narration that the key to thankfulness, the key to gratitude, is to remember where you came from. That is one of the keys of gratitude. If you want to be able to be thankful to Allah and not fear falling into ungratefulness, which is a major sin and is a cause for misery in this life and the hereafter, if you want to be thankful to Allah and be increased by Allah as He promised, remember where you came from. Remember how things were before. Remember that you used to be whoever this person is in front of you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, كَذَلِكَ كُنْتُم مِّن قَبْلِ فَمَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكُمْ. You all were just like them before, but Allah blessed you and enveloped you in His grace. Same thing in Surah Al-Duha. Did Allah not find you as an orphan and He protected you as someone who was unknowing and He taught you, right? This is how we are taught to be grateful. We are taught to be grateful by looking into our past, seeing that, yeah, we have some bumps along the way. We have some bumps in the road, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy always gradually takes us to better places. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى بمني وكرمي وجوده أن يجعلني وإياكم ممن إذا ابتلوا صبروا وإذا أذنبوا استغفروا وإذا أنعم عليهم شكروا والله تعالى أعلم. Maghrib changes to 5:30 tomorrow, inshallah. نعم جزاكم الله خير.